Right, this video is going to cover how I repaired my trailer and saved myself £800. As you can see, it's a fairly simple box trailer, and this all came about because when I was cleaning it I just pressed up against the side here and I noticed it was really soft. Let's go and have a look at the tools I'm going to use. DeWalt circular saw, angle grinder, drill, big hammer, coach bolts, 25mm M6, black neoprene washers for the M6 coach bolts, silicone gun, drill bit 6.5. This is low modular silicone, transparent silicone, masking tape, 40mm GRP connecting bolts. So you'll notice I haven't got any video footage of taking the old panel out. This is the other side, and the bottom bit was all beaten up. This side is fine. You can see it's got no flex in it really. To take the panel out, we had to drill all these GRP nuts out, these items here, and I'll show you how that was done here. So these are the GRP nuts here, and all you have to do is just drill them out with a 6.5 drill. There's about 20 of them all around the trailer, there, across the top. And once you drill all those out, and then you punch them out with a hammer, you can then come to the other side and just push this whole panel out. So in my case you need to undo these bolts for the shoring bars as well, because you'll see here they are attached through the metal, so they need to come off as well. This is a cut down section of the GRP panel I removed. I kept the top half and this is the rotten bottom half, but you can see how flexible it is, and it's just all rotten. The glass reinforced fiberglass is just delaminated from the plywood, and there's no hope for it really, so I'm glad I removed it all. I had a really good clean up of the trailer and was really looking to discover where the water had come in from, but I never really figured it out. The best I can think of is maybe some piece of silicone failed on the inside. I jet washed the trailer and some water got in, something like that. But it all looked pretty good, and there were no holes in any of the angle iron or any of those pieces, so there was no scope for water ingress there. I then move on to measuring up and making sure I've got my panel dimensions correct. The dimensions from Ifor Williams were 3041mm times 1829, and I was just making sure I was going to end up cutting to that size. I put marks down. Here you can see me just getting out with the circular saw, remembering to put the battery in, and off we go. Just cut it down to size. Anything I would do differently here is maybe use shoring bars to give a guideline here. On this dimension I only had 2 centimeters to take off, so I was pretty careful when I was cutting this one. And I get one of my kids to help me put the panel in. This whole thing weighs, I think, around 55 kilos, 60 kilos. The panel, when I got it from the supplier, was about 70. I'd already cut it down more or less to size. Not in the long dimension, just in the height dimension. So we then go about putting the thing in, and it has to go in on a bit of an angle, so there's a bit of toing and froing here.
Oh, we've been idiots here, we should put it in at the other angle, because you're not going to be able to turn it to put it in. We came in this angle, we need to put it in this angle.
Once we get it fully in, it should be okay.
Okay.
And I think if I knock it in, I'm going to have to take it back out to put the silicone on anyway. Yeah. But I think that's going to fit. So you can see the angle line here. So there's a bead of silicone that runs like that all around on the inside, and we push the GRP panel into that silicone. These are the GRP bolts, and they took me ages to find and source, and the dealer supplied the wrong stuff anyway. He just supplied these normal coach bolts, which were not suitable for doing this. And you can see here that they've got this indented Torx type arrangement, so I think that's a Torx 55. Put them through, you do them up from this inside, and they squeeze together, and they've got Loctite on them, and on the other side they've got a neoprene washer of some description, or some sort of washer that makes them waterproof. They're really, really good. They look quite cool, and they almost look the same as the original OEM things that came with the trailer. So now I just silicone between the outside of the angle line and the outside of the GRP to give a waterproof seal. Now we move on to the shoring bars, get them in place. Again, a fairly simple process. Once I got the end bolts done on both ends, then that just gave me a template to put the drill through. Didn't take long at all, it was about 20 minutes. These are the neoprene washers I used with the coach bolts on the outside of the GRP to make sure things were waterproof. Next is attaching all the coach bolt nuts and bolts to the shoring panels, putting one about every 10 holes as it was when I took it off. So there were two large costs really, the GRP panel cost and the labour cost. The panel the dealer would have supplied would have been the correct size. The one that I had wasn't, I had to cut that down to size. The next thing is some GRP bolts and some silicone. Again, dealer didn't supply the right stuff, so I had to go and source that. Not a big cost. The coach bolts and the neoprene washers didn't cost much, I just sourced them off eBay. And make sure you get coach bolts that don't have a shoulder on them, otherwise they'll cut into the GRP on the outside. So the next big cost was time. The dealer was going to charge £500 versus my time, which I just regarded as free, and that gives totals of around £1,300 versus £500, so a saving of £800, which is quite a bit of money really. So let's just cover how long this actually took to do. Drilling out the GRP bolts and getting the panel off, that only took about 10 or 20 minutes. It did not take long to drill all these bolts out. Cutting down the panel, the GRP panel that I bought from the wholesaler, again, that didn't take very long. But then siliconing it all in and doing the other bits and pieces. So let's say that took about an hour, and taking out the panel took half an hour, 20 minutes. Then I had some tidy up work to do on the mudguards and one or two other things, so say another half an hour or so. So if we round up, the whole job only took about 2 to 2.5 hours. Oh, the other thing I had to put in place was these, I'm calling these shoring bars. I don't know exactly what they're meant to be called, but that's what I'm calling them. Again, putting those in, that didn't take very long at all. You know, fix the first two and the other two down the far end, get them bolted in place, drill all the holes, bolt all the other intermediate bolts in place. Again, that was 20 or 30 minutes, so say 2.5 hours for the whole job. Now the dealer was quoting about 8 hours work for the whole thing, so this was an extremely simple job, and to be honest, if you've got the tools and some basic DIY, I would recommend anyone do this. It's really, really easy job. One of the easiest DIY jobs I've ever done. The only thing that I found hard was getting the silica decent here, and that's where I used the masking tape between the floor and the wall. So I masked up right along all of this, so when I pulled it back the joint would look half decent. I'm not very good at the silicone on those sort of exposed joints, but everywhere else it looks okay. That's the end of the trailer video. I hope you liked it, and if you do, like and subscribe, leave some comments. The next one's going to be I'm sanding my car. I'm hoping that goes smoothly. We'll see shortly. Catch you later. Bye.